What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. And man, has it been a long time since I've done a top 10 list. I think the last one I did was the last video I did before I took my break, which was back in May of 2018. So we're not too far from a year since I've done the top 10. Real quick, shout out to my boy Chad from A Gentleman's Journey. I did not forget about you. I've had this shirt since you sent it to me, and I wear it to bed quite a bit. I hope that's not offensive, but I just find it so comfortable. And I'm not too familiar with this brand. I know those of you who live in Canada, maybe you know more about Roots, maybe this means more to you, but I don't know anything about it. I had never heard about it till Chad sent me the shirt. But thank you, Chad. So this is for you, wearing it for you. Hope you enjoy. We're bringing you my top spring list for 2019. This was an incredibly difficult list to curate. So many things that I wanted to include but did not. Things I normally would include but did not. We're not going to see Tweed Intense in here. We're not going to see Rosias, Elysium, things like that. Those are fragrances that I may or may not reach for. I am trying to pull a gent sense and reach for a Ventus at least a little bit less this year. I'm not cutting it out completely like him, but I am reaching for it less, so you will not see it in this list. Although things like Elysian, maybe I will reach for that, you know, in some occasions. But I left it off the list. These are the fragrances that I'm going to be trying to reach for. I'm making an effort to make it a little bit different, at least for myself this year. So hopefully you guys enjoy some differences in the list and maybe even find some suggestions for yourself if you're looking for some new fragrances to check out. Is that everything I wanted to talk about? I think so. Without further ado, let's get into it. This is not a top 10. It's more like a top 12 or 13. Again, it was very difficult. There's some fragrances I did not want to leave out. We have one honorable mention, and this honorable mention comes from the house of Mosque Milano, and this is Hemingway. Now, I did talk about this fragrance pretty recently in a discovery video I did for the house of Mosque Milano. I still know a lot of you guys did not watch that video, so you can check it out here if you have not already. The reason why it's an honorable mention is because I'm still wrapping my nose around it. I will say that I am enjoying it more since I talked about this on that video. It's a super rich and dry vetiver fragrance. There's a few different types of vetiver in here. There's leather, there's ginger, there might even be patchouli. It's very, very earthy and leathery and kind of masculine. Well, pretty dang masculine, honestly. And I'm finding more uses for it. I wore it yesterday and I actually really enjoyed it. When I'm not in the mood for something fresh or something sweet, I reach for this. So I'm hoping to get some more use out of it this spring. That's Mosque Milano's homage to Hemingway, their latest release, although they do have a new release coming out very soon. Alright, I guess getting into the list proper here. Up next, this is from the house of Roja Parfums. And this is my little discovery atomizer of Chypre Extraordinaire. I did review this fragrance. Again, you can check that out here. And I'm not going to show this to you super up close because there's not much to see. This is their travel atomizer. Beautiful scent, very sophisticated. A beautiful take on the Chypre genre. You know, has your classic oak moss accord in it. Has some warmth to it, you know, in the base. And it has a beautiful bouquet of florals in it, especially tuberose, which is highlighted quite a bit in this fragrance. It comes off quite unisex, in my opinion, but I find it so elegant. I'm going to try to reach for this more when I'm wearing a suit this spring. So that is Chypre Extraordinaire from Roja Parfums. Up next, we have a designer. I'm going to try to alternate between designer and niche as best I can. Now, some of these fragrances you may not consider designer in terms of the house that they come from, but in terms of the price range, we can call them designer or even high-end designer. Up next, this is going to be from the house of Martin Margiela from the replica line. This is at the Barbers. And if you've seen my channel, you know I really love this fragrance. I love my aromatic fougere, the barbershop style, especially. It's fresh, spicy with some citrus and some pepper in there. There's even some leather in the base. There's tonka bean that kind of sweetens it up. Really beautiful, fresh, sweet, just so easy to throw on and a great compliment getter. I love this. Decent performance. That's at the Barbers from Martin Margiela. Up next, this is another fragrance that I reviewed, and this is the first video that I did on my comeback. And this was from the house of Etat Libre de Try! What? I'm just gonna call it Aldo. I'm not gonna butcher the name. This is called Le Fleur du Déchet, or I Am Trash. Le Fleur du Déchet translates to flowers from the waste. Beautiful scent, very unisex. You get a beautiful sparkling citrus with apple and rose in there, and even strawberry. Beautiful fragrance, has an interesting process behind it in terms of how it was created, using upcycling of raw materials, of what otherwise would be materials that would be thrown out. Gorgeous scent for the springtime. I've been holding off on wearing it this winter because it just doesn't really fit, but I think for the spring, gonna get some more use out of it. Sample this one if you can. It's gorgeous, really, really nice. From Aldo, Le Fleur du Déchet, or I Am Trash. Next, this is a staple in my wardrobe. Again, if you've been watching my channel, this is no surprise to you. From the house of Yves Saint Laurent, this is L'Homme. This will always be on my list. Anytime it starts to get warmer out, I'm pulling for L'Homme. This is a classic. This is a masterpiece to me. This is a designer masterpiece. Oh, ever since it came out, it's been on the shelves. It's still on the shelves. There's a reason why you can still buy it everywhere. So gorgeous, sweet and fresh. Has that ginger, has vetiver in it, has some tonka bean. So beautiful. Love this one. We'll always have it. We'll always be wearing it. L'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. Up next, this is yet another staple in the fragrance community, and I've been featuring it on my channel for a little while now. And this is Reflection Man. No secret here. From the house of Amouage. Man, oh yeah, this is, yes, so sophisticated, so elegant, beautiful bouquet of white florals. I think there's neroli in there, there's jasmine with some sandalwood. Basically comes off fresh and creamy, a little sweet, a little powdery, very round around the edges. So nice. I want to check out more from Amouage this year. I want to make a note of that. There's some fragrances on my horizon I want to check out. But I will be rocking Reflection Man for the spring. Next, this is not a designer fragrance, but again, in terms of the price point, you can deem it so. And this is pretty controversial. I didn't realize how many people have been hating on this fragrance house as of late because of particular videos that have come out, because of some things that have been said about some of these fragrances. People are just bashing it. And without further ado, this is from Parfum's Vintage. And this is Emperor, and this is the EDP. Now, if you don't already know, this is slated to be as close as they can get to some of the older batches of Aventus. This is like maybe 2016 and prior. And I gotta say, by far, without a question, this is the best Aventus clone I have ever smelled. This beats all of them. Now, I haven't smelled the Extrait version of this, which I hear is great too. But this beats all of them. This beats Club de Nuit Intense Man. This beats all the, even the pineapple vintage fragrances. This is the one. This is probably the reason why I will not be reaching for Aventus much this year. It's Aventus. This is Aventus at its best, but it has the signature Parfum's Vintage musks at the base. They have these amped up musk accords that really just add this kind of the sexiness to it. More so in a way than Aventus to me. This is about just as fresh. It's maybe a little bit fruitier, if you can imagine, with the pineapple. But it's gorgeous. I'm going to stop talking about it. Check this one out. We may not need Aventus pretty soon. If they keep watering it down and keep making the price go up, you don't need it. We can just use this. So that is Emperor. Alright, now this one was a nice surprise. I did receive this from the house as a surprise for doing a review on them. This is from the house of Embrace Perfume and Fatima over at Embrace Perfume. Again, I did a video on their house. You can check it out here. She sent me their discovery set. I loved a lot of the fragrances, as you'll see in the video. And as a result of doing that video, which she didn't ask me to do, she decided to bestow me with a beautiful gift of a full bottle of my favorite one, which is called Embrace Freedom. Now, aside from this, which is these little, I forget what you call them. I don't know the proper name for it, but they're a little hard to use. Aside from that, beautiful scent. Gorgeous, but robust and potent. You get a gorgeous zingy grapefruit backed by some vetiver with some leather and some ambergris. Oh man, it's woody, it's fresh and citrusy, and it has some depth to it, especially as it starts to dry. And this stuff will last days on skin. It is so powerful. I love it. I'm going to be getting quite a bit of wearing out of it. It's very good for casual nature, but also because of how strong it is, I think it works well in more elegant situations too. When you're dressed up and you're around a lot of people in a large space, this will be great. So that's Embrace Freedom from Embrace Perfume. Here's another one up from the House of Parfums Vintage. This one's been getting some good traction as of late, and this is Imbue. And this is their take on Gucci Pour Homme 2, which is discontinued, but still readily available at most places. And as you might already know, has been heavily reformulated, so it's not quite what it once was. And this is meant to replicate its original glory. And honestly, I never smelled the original. And even the newer one, I never really loved Gucci Pour Homme 2. People are crazy about it, but I never really loved it. I smelled it in store. I was never moved enough to want to go get a bottle of it. But something, when I received this, I smelled it, I'm like, okay, it smells just how I remember Gucci Pour Homme 2 smelling, but for that reason, I'm not crazy about it. But something clicked. Over the past week or so, I was wearing it, and one day I put it on, I'm like, man, this smells awesome. I don't know what it is, but something changed. You get a beautiful tea note in this one. So it's a little bit green, it's very warm. I think there's maybe even some cinnamon in there. It's a little spicy. It's very calm. It's a very soothing and calming scent. Oh man, and it's a good compliment getter too. I don't know what it is. I'm smelling it now and I love it. And that didn't happen when I first got it. So it's amazing how taste can change. This is, again, from Parfums Vintage, and this is Imbue. We have our one and only Creed fragrance on this list coming up. This is no stranger. This is Green Irish Tweed. From the house of Creed. This is, as people say, spring in a bottle. I think that phrase is played out. No offense. So I'm not going to call it that. But it is gorgeous for this time of the year. It's fresh, it's green, it has some depth to it with that musky ambergris in it. The violet is a beautiful aspect of it. There's some iris in here, I think. There's lemon verbena. A lot of really cool aspects to it. It comes off a little watery and, again, refreshing and green. It just reminds me of the outdoors, especially like I think of like wet, dewy trees and a wet, dewy forest. You know, I'm walking through it and I can put my hand on a leaf and I can get water droplets and the smell in the air. This is what I think of with Green Irish Tweed. Oh, it's so sophisticated but easy to wear. It can be casual, it can be elegant, it goes either way. It's timeless, quite literally, because this fragrance is older than me. And it's still being sold. So again, that says something. That's Green Irish Tweed. We're into our top three. Now this fragrance is going to surprise you because it surprised me. This is Calvin Klein's Euphoria Intense. Man, I did not expect to love this. I smelled it, you know, maybe like a few months ago, and I was like, whoa, this is really good. And every time I put it on, I'm like, man, I smell really freaking good. And then people say, like, man, you smell great. What is that? It's Calvin Klein. I've never been a crazy fan of the house of Calvin Klein, but this is good. I didn't really like the original Euphoria. It came off real as kind of astringent. It came off a little bit too sickly and a little bit synthetic in terms of like this fruity note that was in there. But this one, it's a little bit smoother and darker. I think you get a lot of amber and there's some woods in here and there's pepper and ginger. But I mainly get that sweet amber. It's very warm. It does have almost this tropical fruity accord at the top when it opens up. But it's gorgeous. It's kind of fresh. It's sweet. It's very versatile. You can wear for any occasion in the springtime or even in the fall too. I love this. And the bottle's great. Great hefty bottle and design. I was thoroughly surprised. I was sleeping on this one. This is Euphoria Intense. Check this one out. It's not going to blow you away, but it smells so good. It doesn't burn my nose. And people around me seem to love it. That's Euphoria Intense. up next. This is a very special fragrance. I talked about this in my top 16 fragrances that surprised me. I had a sample of it. I never thought I would really get a bottle anytime soon, but a very special someone, you know who you are, went out of their way to gift me with a bottle for my birthday, which recently passed at the end of February. This is Boy's 1920 Dolce di Giorno. Oh man. Oh yes. The green juice. I don't know if you can see that. Oh man. Spicy woody plum. Cinnamon, cedarwood, plum. You get cipriol in there. Oh, it's beautiful and it's pretty unique. People say it smells like, I think, Costume National Homme. I haven't smelled that. That one has maybe more cloves in it. But this is, it's so beautiful. It's a bold fragrance. It's a statement maker. Beautifully unisex as well. Anyone can wear it. It's elegant. It can also be casual, but maybe more elegant to me. I love this. I'm going to wear this as much as I can. Beautiful scent. And I'm getting to know the house a whole lot more. So I look forward to smelling more from the house, but this one I love. And number one, and you know, it's hard to say like this is the one I'll be wearing the very most, because again, this was a hard list to put together. This comes from the house of Cartier. This is one I've been sleeping on. It's been out since the 90s, and I never thought I'd really get my nose on it and enjoy it. But here it is on this list. I guess at my number one spot. This is Declaration, or I guess Déclaration, if you want to say it in French, from the house of Cartier. Cartier, as some of the French Canadians will say. Try! This is a classic. This is a gentleman's classic. You're going to get a beautiful cardamom with bitter orange, vetiver, other woods. There's a ton of notes in this one. It's green, it's a little herbal, but it's fresh and it's woody and it's citrusy, a little bitter. It reminds me of Terre de Hermes, but not quite as vetiver heavy is that one. Maybe more spicy than Terre de Hermes. There's spices in this too, as I said, with cardamom being probably the main note. It has a creaminess to it as well, which I think Terre de Hermes does not really have. The creamy nature, maybe coming from the cardamom, brings also a little bit of sweetness, but just a touch, not so much. You need to check it out if you've been sleeping on this one. I think it's still pretty easy to find out there. Again, it's been around for a while. There's a reason why it's still being sold. There's a ton of flankers now, which I'm not super keen on. I haven't smelled them all, but this, I'm really digging this. So I'm gonna dive more into the house of Cartier this year. All right, so that is my list. It ran pretty long. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the list. Let me know what you'll be wearing. Give me your top 3 fragrances for the spring. And let me know what you think of the list. Any picks in here that you also be rocking? Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Peace. I'll see you guys in the next one.